Do not mistake God's patience for his absence. Mistake God's patience for his absence. His timing is perfect.
Hello, welcome back to Just for Today. I'm Jamal Normie.
Hey, I'm Miranda, the recovering addict.
And today we're going to talk about, well, we got a new house. First I got scripture.
Today's scripture comes from Deuteronomy 31:6. Do not mistake God's patience for his absence. His timing is perfect. His presence is constant. He is always with you.
Is that right?
Yeah. His timing is perfect and his presence is constant and he is always with you. There's just a pause, but it's
a lot of pause. Oh boy, but how true that is. Although we're talking about us getting a house, there's a way deeper thing going on than for me to this. His timing is perfect. His timing is better, way better than our timing, your timing, any one of us, regardless of what we want to do. So we got a house together.
Mm-hmm.
Wall's still white. We're working on that. This looks awkward. All this stuff. We don't have the lighting set up correctly, but we're getting the video out. We've been delayed, but we're gonna get back on schedule. Let's start from
the beginning. Yeah.
I mean, not the beginning, but from this process
of getting a house.
Yeah. Man, you just have to have patience. Go ahead,
sorry.
Well, first thing I want to say, I started going to this at church, right? The worst things can happen and good things come from it, right? I was talking about forests getting burned down and things like that, right? Super blooms happen. Super blooms are where, in the midst of destruction and death, new life grows, right? Light is reaching places in these forests where it never reached before. New plants that were never there born, and even still the broken down matter of burnt down trees, shrubbery, and things like that breathes life into new things, right? I kind of went into a church, but I didn't quite go into it. It was on the spot, but that's kind of what our story with this house is, pretty much. It's really crazy.
A relationship just starting on the ground,
yeah.
burnt ashes.
Yeah. So when you're going through things, just know there's a reason, whether you're learning from it or maybe you're trying to rush something that God has a plan for. We would have definitely, we were going to get a house at first that I didn't mind it, but what?
I wanted to go through the whole timeline to express how God's timing, and that's what I learned through this whole process is I definitely learned what a block means, from God's timing and being patient and, all that. So I wanted to go over from the beginning, how the whole process started and all those blocks or just how the timing actually lined up perfectly.
Yeah. Go ahead then.
So it was 2020 was when I think we finally started to at least start the process of buying the house. Of course, COVID happened in March. So we were, kind of delaying it. And then I think July, that's when we're all right, well, because I think the way the market was and, your dad's a realtor and he was saying now's the time to buy and things like that. So I think that's when we started the process and we reached out and we were working with, what is he, the lender? Or what is he? Nick?
The lender.
Yeah. So we were working with the lender and I remember that was when we had our camping trip or whatnot. And it just nothing was happening. The guy wouldn't call us back. He was just, dropping the ball.
Oh, that wasn't Nick. That was the guy before Nick you were talking about, from the first lending?
The first guy, he just kept on dropping the ball. We're turning in our paperwork and, we just weren't hearing from him. And I remember telling you, I'm I don't know. Maybe this is God's sign. Maybe we shouldn't, it's not, we shouldn't do it. And you're no, this isn't a block, Long story short, we ended up going with a different lender. And so that was August. And so August, we got the new lender and we're, doing everything with him. And then September happened to where, okay, so we were interested in this house, and I mean, it was down. We were signing contracts, everything was like good to go, and then we're like reading over everything with a fine tooth and comb. We'll come to find out, I guess, this house had a contract with solar panels, and we were wanting to make sure what we were doing, what we were getting into, was the right thing. Long story short, literally at the last minute, the house fell through. It just, it didn't work out on our end, and on the seller's end, it just didn't work out. And that was like September, so I'm like, oh my God, so we're getting like, I'm over here thinking like, this is a block, like we're not supposed to get a house, whatever reason, it's not the right time. He
but
got different.
She's missing a couple of things. It was her saying she didn't want it that made it not happen. She picked this house, said that she wanted it, we were gonna get it, and we could have gotten it, but she didn't want it.
I agree, yes.
In the end, after saying she wanted it.
Because after, when certain things were revealed about this house, and, a lot of realization came into effect, and a lot of things, whether it was the panels, the distance, the area, there's a bunch of things, and yeah, I took those as blocks, but to me that was the spirit, telling me, like, there was just something telling me, like, that we shouldn't get this house. Anyway, his point of view is different than mine.
Yeah.
I saw it as like, to me it was just signs, like it's not meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't meant to be, I still don't think. I think 100% we could have got that house and been fine. However, again, God always has something better in store.
Yeah.
Not always. Sometimes He'll give you a better option, I guess I could say.
Right. Which we didn't know that's what was going on.
Yeah.
That was just okay.
In the background, you also got to realize during this time, this is when COVID's going on, and the market is just getting ready to change. Like we're gonna get in this house just before it really became a seller's market, like heavily. Interest rates dropping created people the necessity to want to buy your houses. You had people getting these checks and getting more money than probably what they've ever had. And a lot of people moving here from California.
Yes.
So the market at this point, right when we're getting into it, right when things are about to change.
Yeah. So I started getting disappointed because like all the houses, that we wanted, that we liked, swept under us, because everybody was buying, they were buying cash or whatnot. So by, that was like September, that house fell through, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I was just not motivated at that point anymore. And then come October, that's when we both got COVID, so there was a pause there, and we really kind of just took a break on it. We were just like, we were going through COVID, we figured, all right, well, let's just wait, save up a little bit more, kind of work on my credit, and we'll try again.
Yeah, and you gotta also realize, so at this point, when we're going through all this, houses are staying on the market for like 7 days, 7 days. And when you look at something, right, you'll look at pictures online, and then you gotta figure your real estate agent has to make time to go look at things. So 7 days really is not that long. 3 days really is not that long. Like houses would stay on market before 30 days or whatever. You have time to sit up here and look. And then not only that, people are getting multiple offers in this time frame. So it's it gets frustrating, and you kind of quit because you're spending hours and hours going through all these things a day. It's like having a second job almost.
Yeah, definitely.
Going through this, so then we just kind of were like, we're just kind of done.
And at the same time, like, because we're gonna buy a house, so I have issues, right? So I'm over here thinking like I just don't want to get any house. So we had certain expectations on if we're going to put money into a house, even if it turns into an investment property. Like I still kind of wanted certain things. Like we needed a big backyard for our German Shepherd. We wanted like a kitchen that could work. He loves to cook. He's the cook, but I want to cook too. So just a spacious kitchen. I was looking into the area for schools, for my daughter, and things like that. But I knew that there had to be certain sacrifices. But that was another thing to where I would what I wanted wasn't in our budget. And then when we found one, it was like swept under us. So.
And then we should also add, so when this house we were gonna get was like 280,000. And the houses that we're looking for, or that we were liking, were like 300 and stuff. And we're like, in our current situation, we were not gonna do that for us.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like thinking, can't we just budget it to 300 to get what we want? And I remember I kept on saying that too.
Yeah, and
it just wasn't doable. We just couldn't do it.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So, that was October, and November comes around. Again, we're just like, putting a hold on it. We're not actively looking. Like, I think I would go on Zillow, like once a week or something, but we weren't like pursuing it really. That was November. So November comes around. We have a church, the church that we go to, one of the main usher, she got sick. And so, unfortunately, she passed away right around Thanksgiving. And then I remember the very beginning of December, your dad, he's our realtor, and he comes to us and he's like, hey, they're putting her house on the market. It's right around your budget. Do you want to take a look? It's 3 bedrooms, nice area, and they're putting it on the market for 300. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And, I was like, I don't know. And it was like late at night when that happened. And we're like, well, let's just, it won't hurt, to try. Let's just go look. And so
actually what happened was we're like, that's out of our budget. We're not even gonna entertain it. Like 300. My dad told me about it, and then I was like, well, that's out of our budget. Like, if we're gonna get 300, we would have got one of these other houses that were in the area on the opposite side of town at that time.
Yeah.
And then so I turned it down actively multiple times, and then I got this nudge, just go look. And then that's when we talked about it. I'm like, well, maybe we can just go look at it,
And I was like, I don't want to get my hopes up. I remember going, don't want to get my hopes up,
Yeah.
And me, you, and Ariana, we jumped in the car. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And so we get out and we go in the house, and like right away, I was like, and I just, I remember just purposely not wanting to get excited because, you get your hopes up all the time and then it just never comes through, So I'm just like, I just remember kept like holding my feelings in and just, standing back, just looking around. And I mean, nice floors, nice kitchen, 3 bedrooms. Like, I was loving the area. Like, when we actually drove into the neighborhood, it was like around, it was Christmas time. It was December at this time. And like every single house had lights on, I was like, wow, I'm like looking for a kid-friendly, family-friendly neighborhood. And it was, I was excited, I was happy, but I kept on like, okay, Miranda, just relax. And then when we saw the backyard was like, oh my gosh. Like, because in Vegas, you do not see big backyards. Like, you can walk 5 feet and then there's the wall. It's very hard to find like a good backyard in Vegas. So I remember when we saw the backyard, and we're just thinking like, oh my God, rats can just run all over here, And 3 bedrooms, and I was just like, all right, oh my gosh, it's kind of perfect, I didn't want to say anything, but we're just looking at each other like
there's a lot of check boxes.
Yes, a lot of check boxes. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, kind of perfect, And my dad was like, what do you guys think? And I'm like, yeah,
Little negative Nancy over here.
Yeah. And then we're like, all right, won't hurt to try. Let's just, right? Is that what happened?
No, because then we looked and we're like, we like it. And then I was looking into it, and my dad was looking into it, and it was like 300,000. And then it was like probably more. And we're like, wow, we really can't. As nice as it is. And then started speaking with the lender, and then first it looked, and it was like, wait, there's no HOA, so that's like $50 to $100 off right there, right? Mm-hmm. And then so that would drop down the price for as far as the monthly price. And then the lender, I spoke with him, and then my dad spoke with him, and I spoke with him, and then he's like, well, things just dropped another percent on the percentage. And you, like, when you're trying to get a house, a lot of people are under the impression that the base price of the house saves you a lot, but the percentage will can potentially save you more. Like, so that 1% dropped it dramatically for the long-term payoff. And like, it's like historic lows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like normal houses are like what 4 or 5%, whatever the case is, in a normal market, right? And then so we got this house at like 2%. Less than 2%. What did we get?
2%.
Was it 2%? 2%. Was it less than 2%? Anyway, it's crazy low. Like at so 5, 6, 7%, I think is actually normal. And then so we got 5, 6, and 7%. And then so the first time in the first house, it was like at 3, 3.5.
It was 4.
Was it 4? And then so now we're getting it, let's say 2. I don't know if it's 1.5 or if it's 2, but obviously a lot less.
Yeah.
So then it's just like things just started to click in place, and we prayed about it, and then and then all of a sudden I just knew we were gonna get it. Like there was no doubt in my mind at that point. But then she was still very.
I just gave it to God. I was just like, you know what, like, 'cause I don't want to be invested. I don't want to get my hopes up, and I just kept praying, and that's what you have to do. Like you just, I'm just like, God, if it's your will, let it be. If not, whatever needs to be worked out, let it be worked out. If not, then okay. Like I was already accepting whether we get it, great. But if not, all right, we'll have to move on. And I was willing to accept whatever route we went. But yeah, I was praying because I'm like, oh my God, it's like perfect, And so that was like, so we put the offer in, right? Like mid December, and again, so this is not with family, but people that are known to the church and the pastor and whatnot. And I didn't want to be naive and think like, oh, well, they have to accept us because, we're, we knew the sister, the lady from church. And so we put the offer in, and of course, because I even told you, I'm like, somebody's going to, put a cash offer in. And yeah, that happened. I think there was like 2 other offers, and one of them being cash. And that's it, it's not going to happen. But then they ended up choosing our offer.
Yeah, well, we ended up matching.
Yeah.
We gave them a little bit more, actually, just slightly, just to make it even a better offer. And a lot of the stuff that we just, we took it because we knew it's a lot different when you know the person that lives there, how much they take care of things and things like that versus just at random. Yeah. So a lot of things we didn't really fight over, but ultimately, so we got the house.
So it was funny, on Christmas Day, we got that message.
Yeah.
You got the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a Christmas present.
Right.
It was just like, it was just weird how all the timing happened.
Yeah. And then we ended up closing actually on your birthday.
Yeah, like on my birthday, a month later. We were in there signing papers. Yeah. I'm like, wow, is this real? And that's like full circle. It's all about, God's timing. And on a deeper level, like, the church member, like she was sick for a while, and just, God bless her. Like for whatever reason, it was just meant for us to be in this house, and she knows that we're still here taking care of, her house. And, it just wasn't meant to be. The other house that we were going to get, God was like, no. Like I got something better for you. I got something else in the working, And just, that falls back to the scripture. Like don't, don't mistake God's absence for his patience from his absence, like God's always there. He's always there.
Yeah.
He's always working his magic.
And again, like we could have rushed it and got that house, and who knows what had happened, if it would have worked or not, but maybe something negative could have happened. And we do that so often. We get in our own selves, and we want to do things our way and rush things. God has this laid out perfect plan,
right,
and we want to just sit up here and mess things up. You just wrote it on his chalkboard, but we're like,
I know.
wait, I want this, and I want it now. I want it now, instant gratification. Like all we had to do was just sit back and wait.
And that's
fell in our laps.
Not even just wait, but just praying, giving it to God. Like that's the main. That's the key. Just letting God, giving it to him. Like that's what He wants for us. Like when we get, like you say, when we get into ourselves and we get greedy and we get impatient. It's like, but that's not what I want. It's not about what you want. It's not about what you want. It's what God intends for you to have.
And even still, this is what we wanted. So it is about what we wanted. It's just God knows
submitting to
that you submit to Him, and He'll do what He can, what his will, he'll do what needs to be done to get you what you want. It's just we have to be trust in him and allow him to do the things that he has planned. It's just like any other parent. When you're a kid, you don't understand these things, and you just want to go hang out with your friends. You just want to go do this and that, or whatever the case is. But your parent knows further down that road than what as a kid. And it's you grow up, and then you're like, man, you were right. You were right this whole time.
Like, now I know why you did that. Now I know why you said that.
Yep, hindsight. And it's just amazing to me, and just like all these little steps that you just take for granted, that had to happen. And it even though it's tragic that she died, like, you can be going through the worst possible thing, and something good comes from it. You just don't know. You don't know until you know. And then her family were able to get another house. They were able to use the money for things like that.
She left a lot of blessings. She
all these
left
blessings
back to God, and she left a lot of blessings because she was, she believed, and she knew, and she always did the right thing.
Super blooms. The forest burnt down, unfortunately. But so much good came from it, and is coming from it, and will continue to come from it. It's just
taking it back to what you say about the, because I think that's how our where our foundation came from. We were burnt. What do you call it? Burnt what? What do you call it? Blooms?
Super bloom?
The super bloom. Like, that's how I feel like our relationship started, because of, all my issues and
it started with the burned out.
Yeah.
With the...
Like, I was burning,
burn
right? I was burning down,
forest.
right?
Yeah.
So I had to, like, go through all of that, and then, we kind of raised up together, Well, I mean, you weren't perfect either, so you were burning down too. So we were both burning down, and we burned down together, and then we just lifted each other up. God lifted us up.
God lifted us up together.
Yeah.
And continue to lift us up, like learning stuff. But, here I am, Mr. Thinking I knew everything back then, and learning stuff. I do know a lot. But learning something new all the time, you can never stop being a student. There's always going to be something new to learn.
Yeah, but just give it to God. Like, let him, whatever concerns you,
Yeah.
Whatever concerns you, your wishes, like, whatever,
Yeah. And again, it could be the worst thing possible. How can I learn anything from this tragedy?
Right.
There is always a bigger picture. There's always something new to learn, and if you allow it, you can benefit from it. You can grow from it. But you have to let it. Yeah, we have to stop looking at things always in a negative. There's no idea. You gotta stop looking at things always in a negative. Things happen. It doesn't matter. Like, there is always something somewhere. Somebody's gonna learn from it, even if it's not necessarily you. You could be giving it to somebody else to learn from it. Somebody could be watching and learning from it. It's not. We have to stop thinking everything's so negative. Look at the positive side of it. Glass half full, not half empty. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Leave us a comment below. Actually, let us know. Are you going through something that's tragic that you can't see any way out of? Have you gone through something that actually was tragic and you saw the positive on it? This could be a first start of a conversation, a long conversation, but remember to do all the things, like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, just remember to keep coming back.
Stay clean.
Bye. What did you undo?
Deuteronomy 31:6. And his presence is constant. He's always with you. It, like, doesn't, 31:6. Don't mistake God's constant. He's always with you.
You ready?
Yeah. Patience. I had it. Okay, for his absence. Yeah, I had it. That was right. Don't miss is perfect. Oh, see, I get it right, and then I question it.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Leave us a comment below.
Why don't you have it memorized yet? Like, you've been having saying the same thing for like.
No, actually I haven't, because somebody complains all the time about wanting to record and doesn't understand.
No,
And then it hasn't been consistent.
But that's been consistent.
It has been consistent.
But you still read it multiple times.
It hasn't been consistent.
Consistent as in months.
As in, I remembered it when we were doing it consistently. Now we haven't been spotty. It's not consistent. It's a verse though. It's not a whole paragraph. I'm back.
Stay clean.
Bye.
Bye.
Some blows. I want to start the conversation. I didn't say nope. Gotta do it again.
What?